Welcome, everybody, back again to the analyst desk. You thought that I wasn't going to come back. When I said 4 shows, I meant 4 shows. It is I, Jacob Morley, self-proclaimed sports analyst, and we have a game. This is very weird if you're a Toronto Argonauts fan for this game tonight. For the first time in a long time, a regular season game doesn't mean too much in the sense of playoffs. So the Toronto Argonauts have been mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. That doesn't mean this game doesn't mean something to this team. However, you have players battling for spots. You got coaches battling for jobs. You have a lot going on here, right? So it'll be very interesting to see how this team comes out. Plus, on the flip side, you also have the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are looking to clinch first in the West. If they win tonight, they clinch first. That means if they can win, they can rest Trevor Harris. They can rest AJ Ouellette. They can get some of their receivers back. So this is a very big game, I would argue, for both of these teams in that sense, where the Toronto Argos are really looking to try to find the mold of what they're looking at next year, while the Saskatchewan Roughriders are really looking to, solidify first. Because let's be honest here, I think for them getting home field is absolutely critical, right? So they absolutely have to find a way to get this done. And I think they're expected to, right? You're looking here, and like Toronto was, as much as they've been close in a lot of games, it's not like they're honestly, it's not like Toronto's been a great team this year, right? Let's just keep it a buck, right? So it'll be very interesting to see, can this team, be competitive in this game versus Saskatchewan has been one of the top teams in the West. Like when we look at some of these CFL numbers, I'm going to pull them up on my screens. As everyone knows, I have 18,643 screens. That look, there's a big difference when you look at the teams when you're breaking down these two teams, right? You got Saskatchewan, who's got a good home record, good away record. Besides of Calgary, been good against their own division. They get more points than they allow. Those are big numbers. Versus Toronto. Funny enough, Toronto scores more points than Saskatchewan, but good Lord, they allow well over 100 points more so far this year than the Saskatchewan Roughriders, right? So it's a big time for them to really find their way and figure out what they're doing, right? So the Argos, like I said, their season's done, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to play with some pride. And Saskatchewan, as much as, look, they're first in the West. More than likely, they're going to take first in the West for the playoffs. I really do feel there's some things that they got to clean up, right? Like their offense has not been humming as well of late. That is something I will say is a legitimate concern for me if you're looking at the Roughriders. Trevor Harris has been, he's been decent, but he certainly has not been playing the way he played to start the year, right? So I'm just pulling up some of these offensive numbers so I can kind of back up a little bit more. I'm just not just talking on my butt. But like Saskatchewan last week against Ottawa only put up 20. The week before against Edmonton, where they lost, they put up 25. They did put up 31 against Montreal, but that game was a blowout on both sides. Then they only put up 21 against Winnipeg. So if you look, besides of that game against the Bombers on the 31st and the Labor Day rematch, not the game after the Labor Day rematch, the Roughriders of late are just not scoring the same way that they were before. So I'm kind of I really want to see from this team, I really want to see the offense starting to get rolling. I think that's super important, is this offense to find a way to, really get going, right? Like, I think it's so important for this Rough Rider offense to find a spark again, because I don't think the spark has been there in the offense. And you know what? We were talking earlier in the year, Trevor Harris being a potential MOP candidate. Unfortunately, at one point, we thought this was going to be the battle of two MOP candidates between Nick Arbuckle and Trevor Harris. Now, no one's really talking Trevor Harris as MOP anymore, right? You have Trevor Harris, who's down to, he's 4th in passing yards. He's fourth in touchdown passes. He is up there with Nathan Rourke and Nick Arbuckle with a higher interception rating. And I mean, his efficiency rating has really dropped the last little while. Like, you look at Trevor Harris 5 weeks ago was that I think it was like a 114 efficiency rating. He's now down to a 108.5, which is still a very high efficiency rating. But it's not that efficiency rating before that was mind-boggling. It's not like the Cody Fajardo efficiency rating out in Edmonton that's sitting at such a high rating there. And now let's go to the comment section and welcome Key. I'm glad seeing Seattle's offense is rolling. I want Seattle to win, hopefully easier opponent for the Jays. Look, I'm going to say I don't think between those two teams there is an easier opponent. I'm going to be honest. I think both teams are very good. They're very solid. And I don't know if one team is necessarily easier. The only thing I will say is the Tigers have really been struggling going into these playoffs. You do feel like eventually they're going to get rolling. So maybe you don't want them to get rolling against the Jays, but I also feel Seattle's a really good ball club. Remember, that series starts up this weekend, including Thanksgiving Monday, where the Toronto Maple Leafs have actually moved their game now to 2 o'clock instead of 4 against the Detroit Red Wings. But I'm really feeling, though, in this one tonight, I'm really looking for Trevor Harris just to get back going the way he was. His games of late just haven't felt as effective. He has not felt as strong as he had in games earlier in the year. And just kind of like when we're looking at the game logs here, like you look against Ottawa, he did throw 341 yards, only 1 touchdown. Game against Edmonton, 351, but 2 interceptions to 1 touchdown, right? Then the game against Montreal, he only threw 252. Game against Winnipeg, last one, 239, no touchdowns and a pick. Go back to Calgary, 205, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The last really solid game Trevor Harris had was against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, where he managed to throw 307 yards, 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. So I really think I'm just looking for this to get going more from Mr. Trevor Harris, just like I had to wait for Mr. More Free Money to finish eating his meatballs.
That's right, meatball! Oh, sweetest meatballs. Well, actually, they weren't sweetest meatballs. They're from Zarky's. But by the way, we're not sponsored by IKEA's Zarky's, but we could be. But those Zarky meatballs were delicious. Wow.
But Dan, I'm just talking about here, I think for Saskatchewan, this is a really important game for them just to kind of get this offense rolling again. I don't think the offense has looked nearly as effective of late. So what are your thoughts on that? 'Cause I know you've been saying about Saskatchewan being the team to beat, but I really think they got to get this offense rolling, especially against the Toronto defense of no Winton McManus.
Well, I think to get the offense going, it's been really tough here in Saskatchewan offensively because we've been missing the big playmakers. They've been missing the big wide receivers. They've been missing those 50-50 ballers, due to an injury. Last game they played was the first game all season. All of them are healthy. So it's really important.
And Harris didn't have a great game.
Right. So it's really important so this game that they all play together as a team, as a unit, and build chemistry with a healthy full lineup before the playoffs. So I think it's a big game for Saskatchewan. Like, yeah, they got to clinch home field, but more likely they're going to get home field if they don't win this game. But I still think it's a huge game for Saskatchewan to win this game. I also think it's a decently important game for the Argos because the Argos want to see what player is what and who's going to come back next year, right? It's kind of like almost a preseason to next year, as crazy as that sounds. So I don't think the game is as important to the Argos than the Roughriders. But for those players on the Argos that are fighting for a spot for next year, this game may be even more important to those players than the Roughriders players.
Well, and you know what, Dan? You're looking at a guy like, I would say Jared Dagey is a huge example of this. Dagey is a guy that is running out of chances in Canadian football. So he's looking to really get his last chances because who knows? The last game for the Argos of the season, it could be Tucker Horn starting instead of Jared Dagey. This might be Dagey's last chance to prove he's good enough to be in the Canadian football. By the way, I know, Dan, you've not been a Dagey fan. I actually think, considering the situations he's been put in, you know what? He did put together a winning drive to beat Edmonton. he would have put together a winning drive in a start against Montreal if the pass interference call was called pass interference.
Oh,
and the week before against Hamilton, I thought all things considered, he battled hard and did keep Toronto hanging around in that game probably a lot longer than they should have. Remember, the Argos were down. It was like 30 something to 9. I'm just looking here. Yeah, the Argos were down 32-9 and did come back to make it 29-47. So it's not like the offense got absolutely nothing going in the second half. So I'm really curious to see for this one, what's Jared Dagey like? Are they going to open up the playbook for him? Is he going to get the whole game? Does he just get the first half and does Tucker Horn get the second half? And I'm also really curious, too, are they going to try to get Spencer Brown and McMahon battling a little bit, switching them on and off to figure out who's their running back next year, or if they want either one back next year?
I think we'll see that 100%. My decision's already made up. I am getting rid of McMahon. I'm sorry, dude. I love you, but you had one reason why this team failed is because of you. Okay, you were supposed to be the big guy to replace AJ Ouellette and Andrew Harris and the guy I really liked, Amp Carey, and the other Brown, who I liked for third off, and you guys just did not get it done. Okay, I do think you got to bring this guy back, Grant. I love him. I know he didn't have a great season, but the whole special team unit not really blocked for him and did not have a really good year. So I think you got to give Grant one more go. I think Spencer Brown, as he's been playing more consistently in the lineup, he's been really stepping up and making a big difference to this Argo team. I get they didn't make the playoffs, but I think they got close to making it because of Brown. So
yeah,
I think
do agree to a point.
Room in the roster for Brown and Grant. I don't think you have room for all three of them.
The issue with Spencer Brown is it's only that 4.5 yards average per carry when you're looking at the top running backs.
Well, Brown has
Mills,
to get better.
5.5, AJ Ouellette 5, James Butler 5.4, Brady Oliveira 5.6, Justin Rankin out of Edmonton. Edmonton just inked him to a big deal, 5.5, and Greg Bell at 5.7.
You have to get Brown better, but it's not even Brown's full rookie year. He got thrown into this situation because of injuries as a rookie. He didn't even start the position with this team. He didn't even start on this team, right? So I agree he's got to get better, but considering the situation he was thrown into, I see potential of him being better.
So do I.
We've had him for a few years. He's won a couple Grey Cups, but those Grey Cup victories with us, he was more of a supporting role to the other franchise running backs that we had. I don't see McMahon stepping it up to a franchise running back. And with the Argos, we need, because of Chad Kelly and everything, we don't have the franchise quarterback. We pretty close to Nick Arbuckle, mind you, but we need a franchise running back to play with him. And even though Brown wasn't this year and probably won't be next year, I think if we give Brown the full rookie season, I think he can get those average yards up another yard, and I think he can be one of the top running backs in this league. I really have faith in him for whatever reason. And the other person we're forgetting about is Williams in this conversation. Williams was just starting to look really good as a running back, another rookie, but then got really bad eye injury in Ottawa in the game we were at. So if he can sort out his eye injury, next year, you got two great.
Never mind next year. He's a guy.
And Brown, you can probably get the same price of McMahon as one.
He's a guy, actually, Williams, that could potentially be playing this year still. He's still been practicing. I could maybe see him coming in next year. I mean, or even towards the end of this year, sorry. But I am thinking for Toronto, I get, Dan, in a way you say, some people may say this game doesn't matter for Toronto, but I think it does matter because you have guys fighting for spots. You have guys maybe not even fighting for spots on this team, but also fighting for spots in this league, right? And I think Jared Dagey, he's at that point now where he's really, I mean, Ryan Dimwitty really seems to like him, but I mean, this is a big test for him.
Something I'm not seeing. I can't argue Dimwitty. He did win 2 Grey Cups as this hit coach. I'm just saying, I hope in this game you give, maybe if you give Dagey half the game and give Tucker Horn half the game. I want Tucker Horn to at least make an appearance in this game.
I think Tucker Horn's more going to be next game.
But I want to see him more in just one game to know if he's one of my quarterbacks next year. We haven't really seen him this year.
I'm just wondering, though, and I do want to bring this to Saskatchewan a little bit. I do wonder if maybe you're going to see a little bit of Anderson Jr. getting the ball a little bit more to give AJ Ouellette a little bit of a break.
I can see that.
Ouellette does have 222 carries. He has the most carries in the entire CFL right now. So maybe, you know what, if this game can get to a point where, mind you, I actually think this is going to be a close game. But, I mean, Toronto and Saskatchewan, when they played earlier in the year, Toronto lost it by not knowing how to count to 12. So it's not like it was a blowout, and that was with Super Mario on the field, which I don't believe he's playing today. So I do wonder, depending, do we see potentially AJ Ouellette getting some less carries to give Anderson Jr. some more touches, or do you see AJ Ouellette going full tilt, just trying to get this game won? Because if they win this game, they automatically clinch first in the West, and if they lose, even if they lose it, BC loses this week, then they also will clinch the West. So I mean, you are kind of looking, or sorry, if Calgary loses this week, I should say, you clinch the West. So look, Saskatchewan, I think Saskatchewan will be first in the West. Like, I don't think that's much of a question. I think it's more just these last 3 games for the Riders. I think it's just for them to fine tune. I think their defense has been kind of hit or miss. I know they are one of the better defenses statistically in the CFL, but we have seen some corners get burnt pretty bad at times. And Key, when you mentioned Herslow, great question here about Herslow. Herslow's been phenomenal for Toronto. I don't think he's a guy that you're questioning will be on the team next year.
No, not at all.
I do wonder, did we see, unfortunately, Tavares Daniels play his last game in the CFL when he got injured? He's getting older. He was having a quieter he's having a quieter year. I apologize for the cough there, people. But when we look at Herslow's stats, which I'm gonna pull those up as we talk about it, like, Herslow's been a guy that can really, really, really find a way to be very effective on this Argonaut team. And King Kirk, David, are you talking about Alejandro Kirk? He is definitely King Kirk for the Blue Jays, playing some phenomenal baseball right now. I can't wait for the Jays playoffs to get going this week.
Alejandro Kirk. Yes, he has been amazing. And you know what? We're seeing a new generation of Argos, like with his team not making the playoffs. We're going to be all new next year. And we need a Kirk-style player to step up for the Argos and be the franchise player. I think that could be Nick Arbuckle. I think that could be Jadarian Grant. We'll see who steps up. It could be Herslow. Unfortunately, I do agree with you, Jake. I love Daniels. He's made some big catches in those Grey Cup victories and those big playoff ones, and he's been one of our best wide receivers. So probably 3 or 4 years now at least. But I think his time as an Argo might be up because you see how much Coatsy has developed. He's incredible. You have to bring Coatsy back. And let's be honest, the games that the Argos lost, missing the playoffs, were the games that Coatsy was not in the lineup, right? So you got to get Coatsy back. You got to get Grant back. You got to get Arbuckle back. And you're in a salary cap world, right? So I think Daniels might be out and Herslow takes his spot.
And to put into perspective for Herslow, this year so far, he's got 683 yards, averaging 13 yards per catch. And got 4 for over 30 yards, 9 for over 20 yards. And on top of it, the guy's been a touchdown machine, right? Like,
he missed like half the year.
Jake Herslow has 9 touchdowns this year.
It's crazy.
Like, you really wonder. I really look at this. If your receiving core for Toronto in the future was Coatsy, Mattel, Brissett, Herslow, and truthfully, here's the $1 million question that I want to talk about another show. But if Mackay Polk's, let's be honest, we've seen some attitude problems from Polk on the sidelines and during the play. Is Mackay Polk back on this team next year with some of his attitude problems? I'm a big Mackay Polk fan, and I get for him it's been very, very frustrating this year with what happened in the NFL. Coming to Toronto, it looked like they were going to get back on track. Then Nick Arbuckle gets injured, and unfortunately, it was kind of too late to save your season.
with the wide receivers. Certain wide receivers have good chemistry with certain quarterbacks. We saw with Mikhail Polk's great year was Chad Kelly's great year. They had
Actually, no, it wasn't. Mackay Polk was last year was his great year, and a lot of those numbers was actually with Nick Arbuckle. When Mackay Polk really started to get going was when they took Cameron Dukes out of the lineup. By the way, absolutely shocked Montreal cut Cameron Dukes going into a playoff run. I think that's just idiotic. Cutting a player with CFO experience when your quarterback room is very young.
David's comment, that was a surprise with Chicago. Like, we get LA Dodgers as a great team, but so is Chicago. You know, the Chicago Cubs are looking really good this year. So I'm seeing them and Philly out in the playoffs. So, like, yeah, those were surprising.
It is, right? I mean, I think
more sports on the decks.
Oh, of course. We're just talking Riders and Argos right now because that game starts in like less than 10 minutes. But Dan, I'm curious for you, since you think the Argos, let's be honest, you've been vocal, and no disrespect to Jared Dagey as a human being. I've heard he's a phenomenal guy. But you're not confident with Dagey at quarterback. So do you think the Argos are getting blown out today?
Yeah, I do. I really think Saskatchewan is making a stamp on locking up home field advantage in the West. I think this game is big because Trevor Harris needs to build chemistry with his full health of wide receivers. Saskatchewan's defense looking incredible. AJ Ouellette's looking incredible. And like you said, Jacob, AJ Ouellette might take some time off, so it's opportunity for the backup to show, hey, if AJ Ouellette gets injured this playoffs, you still have confidence in the winning position. Mero Alford has had somewhat quiet of a season, I believe. So I can see
he's been injured a lot this year.
I can see him
today.
Kind of like Grant. Like before this year, you had Grant and Alford as your big special play running back returners, and both of them have had quiet years. So I can see both of them, even Grant on the Argos, even though his game doesn't mean anything the Argos. Grant, I would love to see Grant back on the Argos.
Dan, this is a huge game for Janarian Grant.
Yeah,
this is a huge game for Janarian Grant because I'm just going to use some little bit of common sense here at the desk.
Okay,
Devontae Dedmon is probably not going back to Ottawa next year, considering they didn't even play him down the stretch. They were just using Pimbleton as their returner.
Yeah,
I could see Toronto going to Dedmon, trying to get him cheaper, and unfortunately letting Grant go. So Grant's got to prove his worth. Quickly about Jake Herslow again, though.
I bought a Grant jersey when I still could.
Quickly about Herslow, by the way, he is currently in second in the CFL for touchdown receptions with 9.
And he missed half the year.
The only one that's ahead of him is Kenny Lawler with 13.
Yeah.
Like, you look, Herslow would be easily a 1,000-yard guy. But
easy.
Hey, no worries, Key. Have a good night. Thank you very much for cheering for our Toronto Argos, because we need the help. And David, we understand your pain being a Chicago fan. We're Leaf fans. We're Argo fans and aren't getting it done this year. We get it, right? At least Chicago went on a little bit of a run this year, right? Let's see what the Blackhawks can do this year in the NHL. And by the way, we still need to do a full NHL preview show. That will happen, along with an additional Leafs talk episode very, very soon. But before we leave the desk, Mr. Moore, for your money, big smile. You're saying Saskatchewan's winning blowout, so I'm going to give you an over-under for the spread. Saskatchewan wins by 20?
No.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
17.
No.
14.
Yeah, I can do 14.
You're saying Riders by 14.
Yeah.
He agrees with you. I'm saying Argos by 2.
Oh, tight game, eh?
You're a Blackhawks and Bears fan. Hey, you know what, David, by the way? Your Bears are starting to... I think Caleb Williams is starting to figure it out.
Bears are looking pretty good this year in the NFL.
I mean, they're certainly had their bad moments too, but I think they are starting to figure it out. But I'm taking the Toronto Argonauts by 2. I don't know why. I don't see the Argos finishing out the year losing 3 or 4 straight.
Yeah, I can see that. Like,
unfortunately, no matter what they do, it can't. But I feel there's a lot of pride in that locker room. Argos by 3 from David in the comment section.
Interesting.
Respect, man.
Interesting.
Hey, he knows that I'm the true self-proclaimed sports analyst when it comes to CFL.
I think the Blackhawks, just quickly, are going to have a little more interesting year this year. I think this year Connor Bedard is going to either prove he's a franchise player or not, because he's going to want a shot on the Canadian Olympic team. It's his third season, right? I mean, he had a sophomore slump last year. The only thing I'm concerned about Chicago is they didn't get all that much better this offseason. Funny enough, I look at San Jose as the Black Horse in this year. I think they got some good players in Jeff Skinner. They got some toughness in Ryan Reeves to protect the young guys. I could see San Jose doing a little bit better than Chicago, but I hope Chicago has a better year because it's nice seeing original six Aussies making a push into the NHL, and the Chicago Blackhawk fans are really good.
And David here in the comment section, guys, if you want us to do more betting odds, let us know. Right. And we can start going in. Maybe we'll try to partner up with some sort of betting app and we can start going through those odds together to try to make the best picks.
Exactly.
Dan, you're all about more for your money, right? So why not try to help some people make some more money on sports betting?
Exactly. Why not, eh? But I just want to mention quickly before we go off the air, we did do a really interesting show just before this pregame show between our dinner about a great gas-o-ass topic. So if there be more Canadian professional sports leagues teams in Canada, more franchises opening up in Canada. So we had David joining us in the comments live, but if you wanted to check out that episode, the comment section is still open on the Facebook page. And what's really unique about this episode is I'm at school, Santa Clara, York, taking sports marketing, and I'm presenting this video to the class. Not the whole 56 minutes, but parts of it. So if you have some great comments, your comment could possibly make the school's presentation here. So if you want to vocal in on that, I would really appreciate it.
And thinking quickly before we go, we'll address a couple more comments here for the Blackhawks goaltending issues. I don't bank on Bedard. Funny enough, Dan, you're feeling the same way. But thank God for Donato and Drew. Unfortunately, I think Connor Bedard is a bust. Well, if he's so hot, get him a cooling fan. Ha, 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 ha.
You know,
Bedard does seem to be up to a decent start. Look, here's my thing with Connor Bedard. I think Connor Bedard, to be successful, needs to play with some better players. I think Chicago made a mistake by not going out and acquiring a little bit more juice for him for on his line, because him and Bertuzzi just haven't really worked. Now, mind you, I don't think they wanted to pay what the market was, besides of Edmonton picking up Roslovic, which I talk a little bit about that in our new news show that went up today at noon, the analyst desk, the headlines, which is a 10-minute compact version of just some of the biggest stories going on in sports.
Yeah,
great. And yeah, absolutely. I believe we were all gas on it except Lane. Lane was veering very uneasy about it. So if you want to hear his perspective too on why he was leaning towards ass, check that episode out. It's a great watch. But I don't want to spoil too much. I want you guys to go back and watch that episode. It's a really great episode, and I think it's a topic we'll have to do once again. But it's time for us to take off because the Toronto Argos are about to kick off against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So we know Dan has picked Saskatchewan by 14. I picked Toronto by 2. David's picked Toronto by 3. I think he just wants everyone to have fun and have big smiles. Okay, it's interesting about Bedard, one quickly here too. Take the chip off his shoulder and utilize the people he has around that keep his butt off the ice surface. That's a very good point as well. He does play physical guys that give him the room to do what he does. I think Connor Bedard, they were hoping was going to be a Connor McDavid, and instead he's like an Alex Lafreniere. I think he's a decent player. I just don't think he can completely carry a team by himself.
That's my point. That's not my point. He's not, in my opinion, maybe I'm crazy, maybe this year proved me wrong, but he's not a Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Connor McDavid, Captain Underpants type of first round, first pick player. You know, he's a great, I agree, he's probably the best player in that draft to pick first overall. I think he'll be a 70 to 80 point guy once his career gets going. I don't see him being a franchise player getting 100 points a season. I just really don't. I think we need some supporting staff to work with him. Hopefully, Connor Bedard is smart and takes a little less money than all the other guys. And if he takes a little less money, then they can probably build a good team around him, and then it could be a championship team, right?
Well, it's odd with Bedard, right? Because his first year, he had 61 points in 68 games. I think people were really excited to see what he could do. Then he took a real big dip, getting 67 points in 82. Mm-hmm. So, which is funny, in a year with less points, his power play production was higher.
Yeah.
So, and more ice time, a little more ice time. So time will tell. But you can tell my voice is starting to go a little bit here, everyone. So we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you very much for joining us at the analyst desk. Mm-hmm. You would take Pinto over Bedard. Wow. I'm sure Ottawa wouldn't mind trading you Shane Pinto for Connor Bedard, David. But
wow, interesting. Pinto is a really good two-way player. I really like him.
But thank you very much for watching the show. Thank you very much for all the comments. We will attempt to do we will be doing some kind of content tomorrow. So make sure you're locked in with us on all the social medias.
Maybe we'll be back tonight, depending how crazy the game goes.
Well, we'll see, Dan. That'll be like midnight. But thank you very much for watching. And again, we'll see you guys later on in the weekend. And don't worry, more pre-recorded shows are coming. Was a little bit of an issue. I believe we have it sorted out, so we should have a pre-record backup for you guys by either Monday or Tuesday. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys later. And remember, always bring a comfy chair when you come to the analyst desk.
Bye-bye.
Where every day feels like game day.
Bye-bye.